Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're taking a really close look at Virat Kohli's Test career. It's quite something, 14 years, 123 matches, and he recently called time on it.
Yeah, it's definitely the end of an era for Indian cricket. I mean, after Tendulkar, Kohli really became that central figure, didn't he? With his style of batting, that aggressive captaincy.
Absolutely, that hunger for victory, as you say. And look, even if you only casually follow cricket, you've heard the name Virat Kohli. But today, we want to go a bit deeper than just the headlines.
Right, dig into the actual impact, the numbers, the records.
Exactly. And he said something about Test cricket testing him, shaping him, teaching him lessons, and how he valued the quiet grind, the long days. That really says a lot.
It really does. Shows a deep respect for the format, And that hashtag 269 hashtag he used.
Yeah.
His test cap number.
Yeah, it kind of brings it full circle, doesn't it? From debutante to legend. So what we're planning to cover today, we'll look at his overall stats, obviously, the runs, the average, also his fielding, which sometimes gets forgotten.
Good point. Crucial part of the game.
Then those big batting milestones, the centuries, the double centuries, that's a story in itself. We'll touch on his peak years, some defining performances, and of course, the captaincy leading the side, and how he batted while leading.
And finally, the awards, the recognition he got globally.
Right. It's a lot to get through, but hopefully it gives you a really full picture. So let's start with the big picture, the overall stats.
Okay, so across those 123 tests, 210 innings, he racked up 9,230 runs, the average, 46.85.
Solid, very solid over that long.
And that high score, the 254 not out against South Africa, just shows what he could do when he got in. Plus, 30 centuries and 31 50s.
And where does that put him overall for India?
He finished fourth in terms of runs for India in tests, behind only Tendulkar, Dravid, and Gavaskar. I mean, that's legendary company.
Wow, that really puts it in perspective. And the centuries?
30 tons. Also fourth for India, and 15 globally when he hung up his boots.
It's interesting, too, that his average actually peaked higher, didn't it, around late 2019?
Yeah, it peaked at 55.1. It dipped a bit after that, but still, finishing with an average near 47 after, 14 years? That's sustained quality.
Absolutely. It wasn't just a flash in the pan. It was real long-term performance.
Exactly. And, while the batting grabs the headlines, his fielding. We should definitely talk about that.
Yeah, please do. He was pretty sharp out there.
Very sharp, especially in the slips. He took 121 catches in his 123 matches. At the time, that put him like 22nd all-time for non-wicket keepers.
That's huge. Catches win matches, right?
Yeah.
Especially in the slips.
Absolutely critical. Makes such a difference for the bowlers knowing those chances will likely be held.
Turns those edges into wickets.
Precisely. And, he's in that group of players with over 5,000 test runs and over 50 catches. Shows his all-round contribution.
Okay, good point. Let's switch back to the batting then. Those big milestones he crossed.
Right. Well, he was one of the fastest to get to 7,000 test runs, reached 9,000 in just 197 innings. Pretty quick.
Very quick.
But maybe even more striking. He was the first guy ever to score 20,000 international runs across all formats in a single decade. That was 2011 to 2020.
20,000 runs in 10 years. That's just mind-boggling consistency.
It really is. Shows incredible endurance and skill at the absolute top level.
And when he converted those starts, the centuries, 30 of them, you mentioned that split earlier.
Yeah, that's what's really impressive. 15 centuries at home, 15 away. That adaptability
speaks volumes, doesn't it? Performing everywhere.
Exactly. Against different attacks, different conditions, and his record against Australia. Just wow.
Yeah, tell us about that.
9 centuries against them overall, but 7 of those were in Australia. That's the most by any Indian batsman there. He overtook Tendulkar in that specific stat.
Overtaking Tendulkar for tons in Australia. That's quite something. What do you think made him so effective there?
Maybe the pace and bounce suited his style. He liked to play his shots. But whatever it was, it worked. And he wasn't just doing it against Australia. 5 tons against England, 5 against Sri Lanka.
3 each against South Africa, New Zealand, West Indies, 2 against Bangladesh. So across the board, really.
Definitely. And, thinking about those centuries, his very first one.
Ah, yes, the maiden ton. Where was that?
Adelaide, 2012. Against Australia, naturally. India was having a tough tour, but he dug in, made 116. It was like an early sign of that fight he had.
A glimpse of what was to come. And speaking of big scores, the double centuries. This is where he really stands out, isn't he?
Oh, absolutely. 7 double hundreds in tests. That's the record for India.
More than Tendulkar, Sehwag, Dravid, Gavaskar.
Yep, surpassed all of them. Tendulkar and Sehwag had 6. Globally, his 7 puts him right up there, tied 4th, 5th, with guys like Wally Hammond, Jayawardene. Only Bradman, Sangakkara, and Lara scored more.
Wow. So he's in truly elite company there.
The absolute giants of the game.
And the craziest part, all 7 were scored when he was captain.
Every single one. That's a world record for test captains. It's unbelievable.
How do you even explain that?
It's hard to pinpoint. But look at the timing. He had that incredible streak, didn't he? Double tons in 4 straight series between 2016 and 2017.
Right, I remember that. West Indies, New Zealand, England, Bangladesh. Bang, 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 bang.
200, 211, 235, 204. Just relentless, massive scores. It was like he found another gear.
What was going on there? Peak fitness, mental focus?
Probably a combination. He was obviously in incredible shape. And the captaincy. Maybe that responsibility just sharpened his focus even more.
Seems plausible. And he didn't stop there, right? There were more doubles later.
Yep. 2 more against Sri Lanka in 2017, and then his highest ever score, that 254 not out against South Africa in Pune, 2019.
So linking it back, you think that period, his physical peak, the captaincy, it all came together for those huge scores.
It really looks that way. The fitness, the mental strength, the clarity of leading the side. It allowed him to just bat and bat, grinding oppositions down.
Incredible concentration. Okay, let's talk about that peak period more broadly, those defining moments.
Well, that 2016 to 2019 stretch was just, well, golden. Averaging over 50 every year, over 75 in 16 and 17.
It's just phenomenal numbers.
Between 2016 and 2018 alone, almost 3,600 runs in 35 tests, average over 66. 1,400s in that span.
Unreal consistency at the highest level.
And you mentioned that 25-inning stretch where he averaged over 95 double tons in there. 2018 was his best year overall runs-wise, 3,322 test runs.
But it wasn't just piling on runs at home, was it? He performed in tough conditions, too, like that Australia tour in 2014-15.
Oh, yeah. India lost the series, but personally, 692 runs. That's still the most by an Indian in a series down under 4 centuries.
Including twin hundreds in Adelaide on his captaincy debut.
Exactly. That felt like a real statement, even in defeat. Showed his character.
And then the England tour in 2018, redemption after 2014.
Absolutely. He totally dominated. Topped the run charts, 583 runs, average near 60, 200s, that first test 100 at Edgbaston. 140.
Masterclass. Conditions were tough. Anderson and Broad were swinging it.
And he stood up. Showed how much he'd worked on his game, how much he'd adapted. That innings was iconic.
Definitely. It proved he could conquer those conditions, and there were other crucial innings, too.
Well, for sure. That fighting 119-96 in Johannesburg back in 2013 against that SA pace attack. The massive 235 against England and Mumbai. And, of course, the 254 against South Africa. Innings that define matches, define series.
So a key part of his legacy is that ability to succeed overseas, especially after maybe struggling a bit earlier.
I think so, yeah. He clearly identified areas to improve, worked incredibly hard, and showed amazing adaptability. That resilience is a massive part of his story.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly. His captaincy took over late 2014, brought a very distinct style.
Very distinct, passionate, aggressive, and the record speaks for itself. 68 tests as captain, most for India, 6th most ever at the time.
And the wins?
40 wins. It's the Indian record, well clear of Dhoni and Ganguly. Globally, only Graeme Smith, Ponting, and Steve Waugh had more wins when he stepped down.
40 wins in 68 tests. That's a seriously high win percentage.
Almost 59%. Up there with the very best, especially given the pressure of leading India. And the away record under him, that was a big change.
16 wins overseas in 36 matches. Another Indian record, right?
Yep. That really showed India becoming a force away from home. And those 7 wins in CINA countries, South Africa, England, New Zealand, Australia.
Huge. Those are the toughest places to tour.
Exactly. It proved the team could compete and win anywhere under his leadership.
And they spent a long time at #1 in the rankings, too.
Yeah, reports mentioned 42 consecutive months, something like 5 years total. Won Test Championship mace multiple times, just sustained dominance.
Plus those massive series wins, a first ever in Australia in 2018-19.
Monumental. And winning in Sri Lanka for the first time since '93. Breaking those long droughts.
And almost unbeatable at home. 10 out of 11 series wins, equaling the world record for consecutive series wins at one point.
9 in a row, yeah. And leading them to the final of the first World Test Championship. Consistent performance over a long cycle.
And they didn't just win, they often won big, didn't they?
I did. 7 of India's 10 biggest test wins by runs came under him. And remember that run in 2019-20? 4 straight test wins by an innings.
Yeah.
Just crushing victories.
Paints a picture of a really dominant team under his leadership. Now, this is really interesting. How did he bat when he was captain? Did the pressure affect him?
Well, if anything, it seemed to lift him. The numbers are quite stark, actually. As captain, he scored 5,864 runs in 68 tests.
Okay.
At an average of 54.80.
54.8?
Yeah, that's the highest average among all captains with over 5,000 test runs. His run tally as captain is 4th highest ever.
So the responsibility didn't weigh him down, it actually made him better.
It certainly looks that way. 20 centuries as captain, most for India, second only to Graham Smith worldwide. 10 of those were away from home, again, only behind Smith.
And didn't he score centuries in his first 3 innings as captain in Australia?
He did. Just hit the ground running. And as we said, all 7 double hundreds came while he was captain. World record. Most scores of 150 plus as captain too. 9 of them.
But that average difference is the really striking thing. 54.80 as captain. What was it when he wasn't captain?
Around 37.4, Yo.
Wow. That's a massive jump, over 17 runs per innings difference.
It's huge. It strongly suggests that leading the side, that extra responsibility, somehow unlocked another level in his own batting. It's quite phenomenal, really.
To not just handle the pressure, but to thrive like that, producing your career best figures while leading, that's incredible mental strength. Leading from the front in the truest sense.
Exactly. He led by example with the bat in such a profound way. Maybe it gave him even more focus, more purpose at the crease.
It's fascinating. And of course, performances like that don't go unnoticed. The awards, the global recognition, he received plenty of those.
Oh, absolutely. ICC Test Player of the Year in 2018. The Sir Garfield Sobers Trophy for Overall Cricketer of the Year twice, 2017 and 2018.
And 2018 was that incredible year, wasn't it? He won everything.
The clean sweep. Cricketer of the Year, Test Player of the Year, and ODI Player of the Year. First time anyone had ever done that. Just shows his dominance across formats that.
And team recognition, too.
Yep. Captain of the ICC Test Team of the Decade for 2011-2020. Captain of the Test Team of the Year in 2017. And actually, he holds the record for the most individual ICC awards ever. 10 in total.
10 ICC awards. More than anyone else.
It just underlines that sustained period of excellence. And individually, he hit number 1 in the Test batting rankings in 2018. His peak rating, 937 points, is the highest ever by an Indian.
And wasn't he the only Indian to be number 1 in all 3 formats?
That's right. Tests, ODIs, T20Is. Held a top spot in all of them at different points. Shows incredible versatility.
Plus the Wisden Awards. Leading cricketer in the world 3 years running.
2016, 2017, 2018. Hugely prestigious. And then the national honors back home, Arjuna Award, Padma Shri, the Kilratna.
Recognized at the highest level in India, too. It all just confirms his status as a true global superstar of the game.
Absolutely. The awards just validate the impact everyone saw on the field.
So as we sort of wrap up this deep dive on Kohli's Test career, what's the main thing you think people should take away?
Well, obviously the sheer volume of runs, the records, speak for themselves. But I think his legacy is also about that transformation he brought to Indian cricket. That fitness culture, the aggression, the belief, especially away from home.
Right. He didn't just score runs, he changed the team's mindset.
Exactly. He inspired a whole generation, I think, with that intensity and that clear passion for Test cricket. He really embraced the challenge of it.
So over 9,000 runs, 30 centuries, those 7 doubles, record captaincy wins, batting even better as captain. But also the intangibles, the fitness focus, the passion, making India a force everywhere.
Yeah, I think that sums it up well. He set new benchmarks for sure, and just etched his name firmly in Test history as a really, really impactful player.
Definitely unforgettable. Okay, so here's a final thought for you listening. Given everything we've discussed about Kohli's influence, the stats, the style, leadership, how do you think his approach and his achievements might continue to shape Test cricket and perhaps inspire the next generation of players coming through? Something to think about.
A great question to ponder.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.